Hello everyone, thanks for joining us for another edition of Weekend Winners, brought to you proudly by One Equine, and we are looking at night 2 of the Summer Carnival at Albion Park on Saturday night. A 10 race program which includes 3 Group 2 features. We've got one for the Trotters, we've got the Forever Gold for the open class mares, and the open class pacers are stepping out as they chase the big prize on offer in the Queensland Cup. So there's a lot to look forward to. The support program is fantastic once again. 10 races, action starts just after 5 o'clock local time. Joining me once again, Kate Butt, Communications and Membership Manager from the Albion Park Harness Racing Club, is with me. Kate, good evening, and it's an exciting night coming through again, night 2 this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Queensland Cup night supported by Aqua Constructions. It's going to be a big night, 6 group enlisted races, so yeah. It's going to be a good one. And
Darren Clayton from Racing Queensland, he's our form analyst. He joins us once again. Darren, it was exciting last week, and I think this week could be even better.
Yeah, for sure. If last week is anything to go by, we're set up for a massive night. That Queensland Cup going to be a belter. Vinci, how good was he last week? He's going to be have all eyes on him again this week, and he looks hard to beat.
Was he the highlight for you last week, Darren?
He was one of the highlights. I think the manner in which he won that race, he was out the back, he was last pretty much on the home turn. You don't see horses, especially in open company, win from that position here at Albion Park. That said, it showed how fair the track played all night.
Yeah, absolutely. Kate, what was the standout performance for you last week?
Yeah, I definitely rated Vinci's win. It was excellent. I also liked the young guns, Talia and Trent, winning the trot. That was great by them, and also the Embracing Pacing launch was fantastic. Great to see all the ladies on track. So yeah, great night. I can't actually pick one.
Yeah, well, there was plenty of highlights last week, no doubt about it. But as I said, this Saturday night promises to be even better. And TAB have come to the party on Saturday night as well. We've got a first 4 jackpot of $10,000, and that's on the Queensland Cup, which is race number 8. It's the final leg of the quaddie, so that projected pool is tipped to exceed $40,000. And a little bit later, when we do all the form talk for the Queensland Cup, we will throw you a first 4. What we think might be the best way to play that race, race number 8. So that's all in front of us. A little bit later, we'll speak to a few of our drivers as well, Shane Graham and Angus Garrard. Race number 6 on Saturday night is the Group 2 Pryde's Easifeed Forever Gold. This race for the pacing mares, again we go over 1 mile. Last week in the Queen of the Creek, it was Garrard's Delight who was able to overpower Scarlet Babe in the shadows of the post. Guys, it's a similar type situation again this weekend with the field, the exception being the Sydney side of the Stunning Nun who comes up. We saw this mare during the TAB Constellations when she tackled the Golden Girl. She was unplaced in that race, but she certainly adds a different dimension to this race. Darren, how did you map the feature here on Saturday night for the mares over the mile?
Yeah, well, I think obviously those 2 mares that you mentioned, Scarlet Babe and the Stunning Nun, hold the keys early to this race. I don't think Fame Assured has enough speed early on to hold out either of those. I thought Scarlet Babe probably gets to the fence first, and then I think hands up to the Stunning Nun. The Stunning Nun, brilliant gate speed. We saw her lead from out wide at Menangle last time out. She's got brilliant early speed. I think Scarlet Babe's probably a little bit better off the speed. I think we've seen her run some really mighty races at Albion Park from behind. So whether Shane Graham opts just to take that trail or not, but they're definitely the main 2. That probably leaves Waz Firebug the one to have to come forward and sit outside the leader. That could possibly open it up with those ones going across early for Garrard's Delight to slide across and find the position in the 1-1, and then everyone else sort of filling their spots from there behind them. But I thought the Stunning Nun in front and Scarlet Babe taking the trail looked the way that it probably plays out. Okay,
Kate, you've spent a good deal of time in Sydney. You know this mare well, the Stunning Nun. As I said, she's the wild card runner for this race because she brings different form lines to what we've been seeing over the past couple of weeks. How do you rate her chances of the Stunning Nun?
Yeah, I definitely think that Scarlet Babe and the Stunning Nun are the 2 stars of the show here. I think that Scarlet Babe will definitely get to the fence first, and then Shane Graham will have the options from there. I think though the Stunning Nun will be too hard, too strong, and yeah, she will be the one to beat.
Okay, so you're tipping her?
Yep, I'm putting her on top. My numbers are 3, 2, 1 and 6. Okay. So yeah, I've definitely got Scarlet Babe in there. It'll be a nice tussle, but we'll see how they go.
All right, and Darren, you're sticking with Scarlet Babe?
Yeah, I think last week she was mighty brave in defeat. I was probably a little bit surprised that they sat parked in that race last week. I thought perhaps there was an opportunity to press on or just sort of save her up a little bit, but she was mighty brave. Gerarda's Delight took every last inch of the stretch there to get her and was able to get her. And like I mentioned just previously, I think Scarlet Babe is better chasing. We saw her run the hands off the clock here 2 starts back in free-for-all company where she was back in the pack, really charged home. She's got a win here earlier this year at Albion Park in 52 and change where she was out the back and absolutely charged home. So I think we might just see her sitting in behind. The only sort of caveat I have on that is how much pressure the Stunning Nun cops in front. So definitely 2 and 3 on top. 2, 3, 3, 2, but I'm leaning the way of Scarlet Babe.
Yeah, I'm leaning the way of Scarlet Babe as well. Just the fact that she's drawn inside this Stunning Nun. I think Shane Graham's got options there. He can either try for an all-the-way victory or take a seat. Either scenario, she's going to get her chance. The Stunning Nun, she was 5th in the Golden Girl, so Gerarda's Delight took honours that night, sailing down the outside. The Stunning Nun was okay in that race. This is probably a similar type race, with the exception we don't have Amazing Dream and Spellbound here, so the Stunning Nun is going to be right in the fight. Gerarda's Delight, I can't sell her short. If she claims this race on Saturday night, I think she really presses her claims for being the Queensland Harness Horse of the Year, given that she's won the Group 1 Golden Girl, she won the Queen of the Creek, so if she walks away with the Forever Gold on Saturday night, she's got a really strong case. And Waz Firebug, she's just misconsistent. She had a chance last week, but I don't think she'll be too far away. So 2, 3, 6 and 4, similar type numbers across the board there for the Pryde's Easifeed Forever Gold. That is for the mares on Saturday night. Let's look at our other big pacing race on Saturday night, the other Group 2 $50,000 event. This is the Queensland Cup for Aqua Constructions. Mac Da Vinci, he was the star of the show last week, and as I mentioned earlier, TAB have come to the party. There is a $10,000 first 4 jackpot, and that projected pool is $40,000. So it's well worth having a look at the first 4 for this race. And guys, I think we'll all agree Mac Da Vinci is the horse to beat. So Darren, talk us through the speed map. Where do you have Mac Da Vinci with a lap left to run?
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one, this, especially with the driver change. Shane Graham going on to Mac Da Vinci, Leonard Kane, their swap seats, going to Turn It Up. We know how quick Turn It Up is out of the machine. We saw it again last week in that Be Good Johnny. I think we probably see Mac Da Vinci going to the front at some point, whether it is straight off the arm or whether he just allows Turn It Up to go across and then goes across and takes over. That's the scenario that I'm working off. I think Turn It Up, he's just too quick out. That said, Northview Hustler, he could throw a real spanner in the works here. He is pretty quick out himself. If he just boots up enough, it could just create a little bit of early speed, but I think Turn It Up gets there first and then Mac Da Vinci comes around, rolls onto the front. From there, I can't foresee anything off the front line really wanting to serve it up early. Make Mine Memphis probably slides across. Do we then see a mid-race move, the likes of a Colt 31 coming around to sit parked, a Will the Wizard or even an LL Cool J? LL Cool J's probably shown his best work from back in the pack. That said, that's been from bad draws in some of those bigger races. So again, he draws tough out in 13. So early mapping, I think Turn It Up to the fence first. Mac Da Vinci takes over, and then who gets to the breeze and who wants to do that work, because whoever needs to do that work is going to be in for a tough night.
Kate, how do you see it? Do you see it similar? Do you think Mac Da Vinci finds the front here on Saturday night from his good draw? Are you surprised that Shane Graham goes on this week?
No, definitely not. I think Mac Da Vinci's been flying as of late. I think definitely that he's going to be the top pick. He should just lead, and yeah, Shane will be very aggressive there. Like you say, Northview Hustler should get a nice cosy run there, so he's definitely in my numbers. Yeah, so I've chucked in Turn It Up off the front row. Definitely got that gate speed, so should make it interesting. And yeah, I've chucked the Sydney Sider Majestic Cruiser in there too.
Okay, he's an interesting runner, Majestic Cruiser. His last 2 runs have come at Group 1 level. 2 runs ago, he contested the Group 1 Victoria Cup at Bendigo, and then last time out, he was unplaced in the Len Smith Mile at Menangle. This is his first look at Albion Park on Saturday night, and he's drawn widely, so he's an interesting runner. Darren, also interesting, some gear changes with Colt 31 on Saturday night. But I think by and large, it's Mac Da Vinci on top. Everything else in this race is capable of filling a place.
Yeah, certainly. And Mac Da Vinci, it's a big turnaround from last week, where he was favoured, but not everyone thought that he was probably an opportunist from the gate that he had, but he was brilliant, and that puts him clearly on top this week and the one to beat. From a punting perspective, there's probably not much value there now that he's been well supported already. It's been well highlighted that his opening price of where he's firmed into now, from that side of it, I think the value might be with Speeches Silver. This guy has devastating closing speed, just a matter of where he can position from gate 9, and if he's close enough, his last 2 starts he's had to be right out the back from wider gates. Gate 9, if he trails through and settles a lot closer, he has that closing speed to really take a good shot over the concluding stages. Throwing in also Canina Problema, we saw him really attack the line last week, threading a passage in and out and really good to the line. And Majestic Cruiser, I'll throw him in for 4th, but like you say, Chris, the positions outside of Mac Da Vinci, we're all in agreement that Mac Da Vinci is the one to beat and have him on top. Those numbers in behind, up for grabs.
Yeah, absolutely. So that means there is going to be some value there if you're playing that first 4 with that jackpot pool. Look, I'm tipping Mac Da Vinci as well for all the reasons outlined. I think Black Sedan's going to raise well here. I wasn't disappointed by his effort last week. Am I surprised that Pete McMullen's picked off? Yes, because I think he'll be better suited this week at the extra trip at the 2138 metres, but he'll lose nothing with Narissa McMullen driving. I'm sure he'll race well. Speeches Silver, as Darren outlined, he could be the value runner because he's got that brilliant change-up speed, so he could be really dangerous and turn it up. He's becoming untrustworthy, this guy. In the big races, he just doesn't show up, but I expect him to be in a really good spot there, and he can certainly run a play. So 3, 8, 9 and 4 there. They're our thoughts across the board there for the Aqua Constructions Queensland Cup. Right, let's get the thoughts of Shane Graham and Angus Garrard. Both of these drivers have good books on Saturday night. I'm keen to hear what they've got to say. Shane Graham with a busy night and an important night of drives on Saturday night. Night 2 of the Carnival. He joins us now. Shane, appreciate the time.
No dramas, Chris.
Race 2, we start with a feature race for you. The listed Bill Dixon, Ideal Escape, has recently just joined the stables of Vicky Rasmussen. You've got the drive. He's only had the 1 local run. That was in a heat of the Peak of the Creek, and he faces a tough draw the outside of the second row. Any sort of expectations fresh up here for you?
Yeah, sort of probably a bit unknown. I thought he went quite well. His last start, like he had a horror draw there too, and didn't get beaten too far. But you know, the draw hasn't been any better this week. So yeah, we'll probably know more after Saturday night where he's at. Just going back to that first and only run he's had here in Queensland in that heat. Sectionally, he was really good. He was wide at the home corner, but just kept making ground all the way up the straight. Yeah, that's right. You know, he done a great job to get as close as he did. Like you said, on the clock, he went terrific. So you know, he's like got a great record, and you know, he done a good job at Wagga winning races. So he obviously is above average, but just the barrier draw makes it tough again. Yeah, it's not easy. The outside of the second row. Who's the horse to beat in that race? Is it Majorca, but she's facing a second row draw, or is there something else? Yeah, look, it is quite a good field, but Majorca, she went super. Like, she's been brilliant in every start, and you know, she was the runner of the race last week, just getting beat. So she's definitely the one to beat. Okay, race number 3. This is the Band 5 final. Your drive here is Italian Lad. Anything that could go wrong in the heat did go wrong, but he's still qualified and he's in with a good chance here. Yeah, that's right. He, you know, like we had no favours and had to end up going back last week in the heat, and the way the race was run, you know, it was mathematically impossible to sort of get into it. So I was happy with his effort, but as always, the barrier hasn't been kind to him. In saying that, though, is it fair to say that a lot of the major players in this race are all facing second row draws? Yeah, that's right. Like, you know, I'd say the main dangers are off the back line, so at least he's not on his own there. Okay. Is he versatile? He is, yeah. Like, you know, like, he's probably not showing the same speed that he does have over here. You know, early days in New Zealand he was quite fast, but he's probably just not showing that speed. He's got a bit more stronger, but yeah, I don't think he doesn't have to be up the front end to win, but you know, it's probably pace related on how he goes with that. Which stable do you fear most in this race? Gemma Hewitt's runners or the Grant Dixon runners? I'll go both.
Okay, but he's in with a fighter's hope.
Yeah, that's right. You know, like as long it's like every race. If you're drawn off the back, as long as it's run as race, the race is run to suit. You know, he'll get home well.
All right, let's go across to race 6, the Forever Gold, the Group 2 mares feature. Scarlet Babe, you're with this mare again. She went down narrowly last week and the Queen of the Creek behind Gerardo's Delight. Can she lead? Can she find the pegs first this week?
Yeah, I think so. You know, she does have good gate speed. We haven't sort of used it this time back in and that, but from the 2 and, you know, with the speed drawn outside, I think we'll have to use it.
Okay, were you happy with the performance last week going down narrowly?
Yeah, I thought she was good, you know, like probably the only horse you didn't want her back, and that was Gerardo's Delight. So, you know, to only just get beaten and only the last, you know, 50 metres, I thought she done well.
Yeah. Were you surprised that Gerardo's Delight was able to get over the top of you given the splits that were run?
Yeah, I thought you know, Scarlet, because she can sprint quite solid, like quite quick, I thought she'd be doing a good job to get past her, but you know, she's a quality mare and she just showed how good she was.
How do you sort of gauge the Stunning Nun? We saw her here, and you competed against this mare in the Golden Girl during the TAB Constellations. She's back in town. How do you sort of gauge her recent efforts?
Yeah, look, I you know, obviously they're happy with her, and that's why they're coming up for it. So she probably on paper doesn't look to be going quite as good as when she was, you know, in a real purple patch, but they wouldn't be sending her up here unless they were happy with her.
Okay, race 8 on Saturday night, the Group 2 Queensland Cup. You're driving Mac Da Vinci. No horses going better at the open class ranks in this state as this guy is. He is low flying. Is this going to be his final start before the Inter-Dominion Series?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he'll head back down south later on in the week after this Saturday night.
Okay, he's drawn gate 3. Last week he had the outside of the second row, sailed down the outside. Is there a chance that he could find the front in this race on Saturday night? Yeah, we'll have to press forward, you know. Like you said, he's going the best, you know, the best at the moment, and you know, there is speed drawn inside and out, but he does have good gate speed himself, so we'll be going forward and trying to put him into it. He's at the peak of his powers, no doubt about it. He's fit, he's versatile. I suppose it's one of those sliding doors moments. With the TAB Constellations, he came up for a lot of those features, including the Rising Sun. If he was in this sort of form back then, he would have given that a really good shake. Yeah, I think so. You know, like the longer he's been up here, the better he's adapted to it, and I think he's just got better and better every run. So yeah, like I would have liked to have sort of had him in this form going into those early races. That's for sure. Is there any consideration about you driving him during the Inter-Dominion? Yeah, Scotty said about, the owner said about going down and driving him, but just with COVID and that, I think it's going to be impossible to get down to do it. So that's a bit of a disappointment, but it's just the world we live in at the moment. Okay, I've got to ask about Majestic Cruiser. 2 starts ago, he was unplaced in the Victoria Cup. He was unplaced last time out in the Len Smith Mile, both Group 1 features. Didn't have a great deal of luck, but he's drawn wide here, gate 6. How do you sort of rate him? Yeah, look, he's a bit the same as Stunning Nun. I'm sure, you know, they wouldn't be sending him up here just for the trip. So he's been racing in the best company, you know, his last 5 or 6 starts and going well. So he's definitely going to be hard to beat. Last race on Saturday night, Glen Eagle, a warrior. He got turned over last week behind Herb's Hero and Balducci. That was at the mile. It's 2,138 metres this Saturday night. Does that enhance his chances, the extra trip? Yeah, it probably does. He, you know, that's probably about the quickest he's ever gone for a mile, I reckon, last week. So he's no star, but he's very, very honest, and, you know, week in, week out, he tries and puts in a good run. So the barrier draw is a definite plus, and the distance probably helps as well. Okay, he should be able to hold up again from the inside? Yeah, he's sort of a bit deceiving, you know, like he's a very hard horse to cross, and he generally only does what he has to. So I thought he'd be able to lead that race. And Balducci's the main threat? Yeah, he's probably, you know, he's been running with not much luck going his way, but like last week he had a good trip and zipped home, so he's going to be the hardest sitting on my back. Okay, it's a solid book there on Saturday night. Which one stands out, with the exception of Mac Da Vinci? You can't take the easy way out. Yeah, I know. Oh, look,
whichever one I say, I'll jinx myself. So
well,
we'll
don't
just
say
say
it.
let's cross the fingers and hope we go well.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Really appreciate the time, Shane. We'll see you trackside.
No worries. Thanks, Chris.
Night 2 of the Summer Carnival. Angus Garrard set to play an important role, a number of key drives, and he joins us now. Angus, appreciate the time.
No worries, thanks for having me, Chris.
You get a warm-up in race 3 on Saturday night, Living Again. He's drawn widely, and this is a pretty tough race. This is the Band 5 final. Any expectations with Living Again?
Not really, Chris. Obviously, I think his last run was a big improvement on his previous couple, so that's a good sign, but I think we'll just have to drive for luck and hope something can go in our favour and we can land some money.
Okay, wait for something easier there with Living Again. Race 4, this is a key race. This is the Group 3 feature for the 3-year-old colts and geldings. Manila Playboy is your drive. We all know he's got class. He's a Group 1 winner, 8 wins from 15 starts. Your first official race drive behind this guy for Shane Fraser, his trainer, but you've been with him at the trials recently. What has he shown you at the trials? Any sort of surprise? Is he what you expected in the trials?
Nothing really surprising, Chris. He sort of feels pretty classy. Obviously, he's only had reasonably quiet trials, but you can sort of feel he's pretty good and he sort of only does what he has to and what you ask him to do. So I think he'll show up good Saturday night.
Okay, he's had the 2 trials. The first trial was at Redcliffe. She's Miss Divine won that trial. She's franked the form by winning last week. How much improvement was there from that first trial to his latest trial at Albion Park as we just witnessed?
Yeah, heaps, Chris. He was a lot sharper that second trial here. Obviously, we ran him in 28.1, 27.5 there, and I sort of never turned the stick, never pulled the plug. So he sort of just did it under his own steam, and he felt really good to the line.
Okay, he is first up, so he's giving away that little fitness advantage. We haven't seen him since June. What are the early tactics? Do you just grab up straight away?
Yeah, I'd say so, Chris. We'll see what happens. Unless something silly happens, I'd say we're just going to have to go back and drive him for that explosive speed he's got. So if there's speed on, it's sort of going to throw the race into our favour, but we're just going to have to play it by ear.
The fact that it's 2,138 metres and he's fresh up, any concern there?
No, I don't think so, Chris.
All right. Who looms as the horse to beat in that race? Are you looking at Captain Nemo? Is it Big Wheels? Is it Chamonix who won last week?
Yeah, look, it's a bit hard to say. They're all racing really well. I'm not too sure how much real gate speed Captain Nemo possesses if they really ask him out. So it's tough to say. I think Big Wheels raced really good last week. Obviously, he was beaten by Chamonix, but he had to park outside him, and it's sort of a really strong form race. So we just got to hope for tempo, and I'm sure we'll be right in the finish.
Okay, race number 5, the Burwood Stud 2-year-old feature, again for Shane Fraser, Bangkok DJ. This is your first time sitting behind this guy. You haven't driven him in these 2 starts to date or at the trial. So what are you expecting here with this guy?
Yeah, he's a really exciting 2-year-old, Chris. Obviously, as you said, I haven't sat behind him, but looking from pretty close his last couple of trials, he seems pretty exciting. He sort of hasn't been asked at either of those trials, and obviously ran second to She's Miss Divine and then beat me home on Manila Playboy. So he looks a very exciting young horse.
We're probably going to leave it as late as possible, but you'll be gauged by how Manila Playboy goes in that previous race, race 4 there on Saturday night. If he does go well, that's going to boost your confidence considerably with Bangkok DJ.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, now this is a deep 2-year-old race. You know the form better than most. Leap to Fame's back in action. Away We Go's going to strip fitter. Obi Legal jogged in last time out. You've sat behind him previously. And Teddy Disco, he won last week and he's a Group 1 winner. This is a high-quality race.
Yeah, it's a really hot lineup, Chris. As you said, like Leap to Fame's coming back from Breeders' Challenge in Sydney, and that campaign probably didn't really go to plan for Connections, but we all know how good he is. My horse is obviously very exciting. He's sort of that win in the consolation of the Breeders earlier this year. That was sort of outstanding, and he did it really well, and his trials have been super. Obi Legal, he's a super fast horse. As you said, I've sat behind him before, and he's got rapid speed off a helmet, so he's always a danger. And as you said, Away We Go and Teddy Disco, they're both Group 1 winners, and they're also going to be right there. So it's sort of pretty hard to line up who's going to land where and pick a clear winner, but it's going to be a very interesting race.
Yeah, no doubt. Last week in that 2-year-old clash with Teddy Disco, away we go. They absolutely flew that first 400 metres. Do you accept or do you expect a similar type pressure early again this week?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. It probably all depends how Leap to Fame comes out. If he sort of comes out holding everyone easy, it probably changes the race a little bit. But if there's a few that can sort of get a sniff of finding the front, there could be a lot of early pressure.
All right, well, we'll watch with interest that 2-year-old race there on Saturday night. It's a high-quality race. We move to race 7. This is the Trotters race. Sir Fahrenheit. He was the beaten favourite last week in that trotting feature. He's got the inside of the second row and he comes back from 2100 to the mile. He was close last week. He was just picked off late. You would have been really happy with the horse, but probably a little frustrated at the same time.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. I thought the horse raced awesome. We just sort of copped a bit of pressure early that we didn't really expect, and obviously coming out in 36.9 with a trotter over 2100, that's, from everyone I've spoken to, I don't think anyone can remember a trotter coming out that quick. So to do that, go a first quarter in sub 30 and still come home in sub 30 and go down by probably half a length, I thought it was a massive effort.
So was it a case this week, Angus, that last week you were the hunted, this week you get to be the hunter?
Yeah, that's right, Chris. Sort of, we just need a few little things to go our way, and I'm sure he can take it.
Majestic Simon draws the front row. We probably know if Pete wants to, he'll lead this race with Majestic Simon. So if that's the case, that's going to help your chances because a genuine tempo should be expected.
Yeah, that's right. We just sort of, we'll just have to see sort of if anything can come across with him and happen to get in front of Claudie's Prince. His real gate speed's probably a bit hard to line up. He hasn't really had a decent draw in a mobile up in Queensland, so it'll be interesting to see how well he comes out, but we'll sort of be glued to the back of him and we just got to hope for a bit of luck.
All right, he's come through last week well?
Yeah, he's been really well, Chris. His work this week's been awesome again, so I think he'll be tip-top for Saturday night.
All right. Race number 8, this is the big one, the Group 2 Queensland Cup. Speeches Silver. He deliberately bypassed last week's Be Good Johnny sprint. You're drawn 2 off the second row. It almost seems like an ideal draw for him. Yeah,
that's right, Chris. Probably would have been good to have one with a little bit more speed or one that's probably going to want to be a tad handier drawn in front of him. Probably would have got us a bit closer. But in saying that, we don't sort of have to do anything early at least, and we can just sort of let it play out and see what happens.
Most are expecting Turn It Up to lead again, but maybe they might look for cover, and Mac Da Vinci's drawn ideally in 3, so he might be the first one to race up and find the front. If he does find the lead, Mac Da Vinci, can anyone beat him?
Yeah, look, I don't think, realistically, I don't think so. Although in saying that, if someone sort of took a real crack at him that first sort of, that lead time or through the middle half there, it might leave him vulnerable late. So it's not like he's unbeatable. He's been racing awesome. You can't take anything away from Mac Da Vinci, but if something happens, he could be vulnerable.
Okay, your guy's as fast as any in this race, 54.1, 26.5. That was his own individual splits last time out, so he's capable of going with Mac Da Vinci if it sets up nicely for him.
Yeah, that's right, for sure. I mean, if we were drawn to be on the back of Mac Da Vinci, I'd probably be pretty confident in saying we'd go close. So if we can sort of have a few things go our way, I'm sure we can take this race.
All right. Really appreciate the time, Angus. We'll see you in action on Saturday night.
No worries. Thanks, Chris.
Welcome back, and as always, a big thanks to both Shane Graham and Angus Garrard giving up their time and insights ahead of their drives on Saturday night. We wish them the very best of luck. We've still got a few other races that we want to focus on for Saturday night. We're going to focus on race 4 firstly. This is the 3-year-old feature for the Colton Geldings. This is a Group 3 event and it's drawn together a very tidy field. I'll be interested in the thoughts of both Darren and Kate here very shortly. This race is going to be run over the journey of 2,138 metres and race number 4 wraps up the early quaddie. Darren, how do you map this race with a lap left to run?
Yeah, well, as we saw last week, Chamonix took the early advantage and went forward from gate 7. So this week we've got a situation where who wants to take that early advantage over the 2100? Again, a few of these horses perhaps a little bit suspect over the middle trip. So we've got Captain Nemo drawn in gate 2. Doesn't possess the greatest amount of gate speed and probably at some point he's not going to get across The one that I thought has the speed to get across early, General Montana, horse number 6, brilliant out of the machine. I think he can fire off early. Big wheels, we saw him, he gets out quick, but is it a case of more he needs to balance up first before he gets forward? He certainly is one that can get across, but if General Montana gets the early jump on him, Big Wheels has previously been a little bit sketchy at the starting point, so whether the same situation unfolds where they just want to balance up a little bit before they really push the button on him. That leaves Scotch and Ice probably getting the trail. If General Montana hands up to Big Wheels, if that's the situation as well, or creates enough space to drop in, we could see a situation where Scotch and Ice is 3-back defence. That would then leave Captain Nemo probably outside the leader. But I'm working off General Montana getting to the front, Big Wheels sitting outside him, Captain Nemo then getting the 1-1, Chamonix following through on the back of him, the others finding their spots thereafter.
Okay, Kate, this is a very interesting race. It's a good mix here. There's several up-and-coming types here. How do you see race number 4?
Yeah, well, I think it's a very open race here, but I see Big Wheels crossing, and that should leave Captain Nemo exposed. So I've actually left him out of my numbers this week. I've put Manila Playboy on top, trialled great and I think good enough to win here. Like I say, Big Wheels should lead, and then that'll leave Captain Nemo exposed. Chamonix, great last week winning, and then Scotch on Ice should get a nice cosy run and yeah, should hopefully jump in there for some money.
Okay, Manila Playboy is a very interesting runner here, Darren. 8 from 15, he's a proven Group 1 winner. He's first up and he's got the wide draw. Angus gave him a good push. He's been happy with the trials. Me personally, I'm not so sure, and I think it's a tough gate number 7, but he's a very interesting runner, and like I said, it's quite an open race. How did you see it? Who were you tipping?
Yeah, I'm tipping Captain Nemo on top. The thing that swings me back to him is we've seen him run some really big races since he came out. He came across with that Ray Green team in the winter. He stayed here. He's with Mark Ducks now. He hasn't raced his own age group since he's been here. This is the first time he gets to challenge his own age, which for me is a big drop back for him. He's been running some mighty races. Second last time out to Italian Lad. We see Italian Lad go out earlier in the night in a much stronger Band 5 event, and Captain Nemo, he was game in defeat on that occasion. I think he can do the work. I've said it previously about the 2100. I've got some concerns about some of the runners being able to see that trip out. No issues with Captain Nemo, he can do it. So that's why I've got him on top. Big Wheels, he was good last week, first up from a break, as was Chamonix, who he runs second to. Chamonix got the early jump from gate 7 and went forward, so he probably follows through on the back of Captain Nemo. Manila Playboy, you mentioned him, I've thrown him in for 4th. He's been good in those trials. It's a big ask first up from gate 7 against hard and fit performers, so it's going to be a big ask for him. He is a Group 1 Triad winner over the trip from gate 6 earlier this year, back in May, and Angus Garrard has picked up the drive on this guy now, going forward it seems. Yep,
certainly, and I'm with Captain Nemo as well. The thing that I like about Captain Nemo, he's the class runner of the field when you look at the national rating. He'll love the 2138 metres, and he's ideally drawn in gate 2. Not that he's fast off the arm, but he's just going to be in the right spot for mine. So I've got him on top from Big Wheels. Look, I was really keen on him fresh up last week. He didn't disappoint me. If you reverse the draws with him and Chamonix, you get a different result. He'll be a lot sharper again on Saturday night, Big Wheels. Chamonix, he just keeps stepping up to the mark all the time, this guy. He's a really underrated type. He'll love the 2138 metres again. And Scotch and Ice, I thought he was a value place hope here. Sectionally, he was really sound last week, so I can certainly include him. It's Cherokee Jack is another one that I'm putting in the mix as well. He's likely to go off at really big odds, but he's a talented type. So that's a good race. Race number 4, the Garrard's Horse and Hound 3-year-old Colts and Geldings Classic. That race is a Group 3 feature of $30,000. Let's move along to race number 7, this one for the Trotters. So Kate will be interested in this. She loves her Trotters. This is the Aqua Construction Trotters Sprint. Last week, 2138 metres. This week, it's a mile, again, mobile start conditions. This is going to be a very interesting race here, Darren. How do you map them with a lap left to run?
Yeah, well, I've got Majestic Simon absolutely blasting off the arm here, getting to the front, gate 6. We've seen him charge across from gate 7 earlier this year. That was the last time he took on the mobile mile. He led on that occasion from gate 7 on his ear. I can see him leading again here. Red Castleton, He's got good speed off the machine as well, so he probably gets to the pegs first, I thought. From there, he won't want to engage in any early speed battle. We saw how well he came off the speed last week, 4 back to fence, and absolutely rattled home for a really, really classy victory. So from there, Van Sank out in gate 5. Really interesting runner, this one, Van Sank. A little bit bemused about how he opened favourite for this race and has been well supported already and firmed from that opening quote. So I might have egg on my face here, but I can't see him featuring early. So I thought I thought he probably ends up outside the leader. Stress Factor was a bit sketchy away last week. And then you got your second liners. Sir Fahrenheit, probably the interesting one. Inside the second line, they probably want to look at getting off the fence at some stage pretty early on with him. Otherwise, I can see him being buried away and looking for a lot of luck.
Okay, so you've got Majestic Simon leading. Kate, this is your forte, the Trotters. You know the Trotters really well. How do you see this feature?
I'm actually sticking with Sir Fahrenheit this week, so I'm going to be slightly different to Darren. But yeah, sticking with Sir Fahrenheit, good each way value here. Like I say, Red Castleton was fantastic last week. Nice to see the young guns get that win. He's a good chance again in an open race, and he should get a nice cosy run and use the Kaleido sprint lane there. I think Stress Factor is should be in the money, but hasn't really proven himself in the Sunshine State as of yet. I have chucked Van Sank in there, trialled okay, so caught my eye, but yeah, I'm just putting him in there for some money there.
Well, I agree with Darren to a degree. I can't see how he's so short in the market, Van Sank. He was beaten behind Majestic Harry last time out, and Majestic Harry never threatened, albeit from a bad draw last week, but he never looked likely last week, Majestic Harry. He's got change-up speed, Van Sank, but this is a steep rise in grade for him. So who are you going with? Are you going with Majestic Simon to lead all the way? Yeah,
I'm going with Majestic Simon. Like I mentioned, the last time we saw him tackle the mobile mile was from gate 7, where he was in front pretty quickly. For a trotter to have this type of gate speed he has, it's super. Probably went off the boil a little bit after the Winter Carnival, but he was good. The last night of the Winter Carnival, we saw him in a mobile event over the 2100. He led them up early on that occasion, just couldn't go with them. They were a bit too classy for him on that occasion. Horses like Tough Monarch, Humble Lad, those type of guys on that night, Pink Galahs. So, but from where he's drawn in this race, who he gets to line up against, I think it's our weekly dose of Leader Peter doing his thing. Okay, so Majestic Simon for Darren. On with Sir Fahrenheit. I agree with Kate. Nothing if not game last week in defeat. That lead time, that's something that must be highlighted. That's very quick. A lot of pacers would struggle to run that lead time that he did last week, and he was right there at the finish. Very game in defeat. This week, like I mentioned with Angus Garrard, he'll be the hunter this week rather than the hunted like he was last week. He's versatile, he's rock hard fit, he can get over the top of them. He just needs that little bit of luck, but if he gets it, he can put them away. So Sir Fahrenheit on top for me to beat Red Castleton. He's going to be thereabouts again. He was really strong the way he savaged the line last week. Majestic Simon, this is going to tell us where he's at. He's down on form. It was probably a pass mark, probably only just last week, but if he's in front over the mile, we know he can scoot around Albion Park. And Claudie's Prince, not sure where he ends up from barrier 1, but he was good last week. So 8, 3, 6 and 1. That's the Aqua Construction Trotters sprint there over the mile. The last of the features that we're going to look at now on Saturday night is race number 9. This is the changeover classic for the 3-year-old fillies. And the interesting runner here is Chrissy Schick coming up from Sydney. She takes on the fillies that we saw last week, the likes of She's Miss Divine, Catchphrase and Jasper. Darren, how do you map the 3-year-old fillies? Yeah, I think with Chrissy Schick coming up, she's got enough early speed to find the front here. Catchphrase probably doesn't have enough speed to hold out. We saw her on the pegs last week. Jasper gets the big improvement from gate 9 last week up to gate 2 this week, so she gets an opportunity to settle a lot closer, but I can't see them holding out Chrissy Schick in the early stages. From there she gets to the front, probably Jasper first to the pegs over Catchphrase. That makes it a tough ask thereafter for She's Miss Divine. Benefited from a couple of scratchings last week, moved her in a few spots and was able to get straight to the front relatively easy. She might just need to roll the sleeves and be in for the fight this week. So Chrissy Schick in front for mine, and from there looks the obvious danger.
Okay, Kate, you've been sticking up for the Sydney siders all morning here. Are you going to go with Chrissy Chic in this 3-year-old fillies race?
Yeah, I am. She's been racing such high quality fillies as of late, like the likes of Tough Tilly, Antonia. She actually beat her 3 starts back. So I'm sticking with Chrissy Chic, and I think that the second place will be fighting between Jasper, She's Mr. Vine, and Catchphrase.
Yeah, we've all got very similar numbers there.
Yes.
I'm with Chrissy Chic as well. We saw her during the TAB Constellation. She tackled the Queensland Oaks. She led up in that race. It was a sub-36 lead time, and she just ran out of puff over the latter part. Jasper beat her home in that race, but Jasper didn't do the work that Chrissy Chic did after leading. So I think if she gets the lead here, and as Kate outlined, she's got form around Antonia. That speaks for itself. A last start Group 1 place getter, Chrissy Chic, in the Breeders' Challenge. So a standout for me, playing the exotics with 2, 1 and 6 like everyone else there. So that's the changeover 3-year-old fillies classic. That's the last of our features coming through on Saturday night. That's race 9 of 10. In just a moment, we'll go through all of our best bets for Saturday night's big card. It's time now to find all the good things for Saturday night's 10-race program, night 2 of the Summer Carnival. First of all, we've got that first 4 jackpot on race number 8. I promised you earlier, we'll put our thinking caps on here at the desk, and we've come up with the first 4, which may just hopefully steer you in the right direction. We all think Mac Da Vinci can win this race, guys, on Saturday night. As far as finding or playing the first 4, Kate, you promised that, you know, Majestic Cruiser has to be in there somewhere, so you're kicking up for him?
Yeah, I think Lynn Smith, Mile Form and Victoria Cup, he's got to be in there, so I'm chucking him in there.
All right, and Darren, you and I were both sort of discussing Speeches Silver is probably the value horse, so he's got to be in there as well?
Yeah, he's got to be in there. Just those sectionals that he can reel off. He's close enough. He's going to be right in the mix, and you know, there's a couple of others there that are possible second place chance to turn it up. If he gets first to the pegs, well, he's going to get an easier run and might be what he needs to turn it around.
All right, so our team first 4, that pool is projected to exceed $40,000, hopefully $50,000. It may go over $50,000 when we put our first 4 on, because we're playing wide. 3 Mac Da Vinci, a standout. On the second line, 4, 6, 8 and 9, and then we're going really wide on the third and fourth line because we've got field and field. So that's $360 for 100% or $180 for 50%. So you can play that to suit your own budget. Just remember, if you are gambling on the weekend, please do so responsibly. But that's our team first 4 for the main race there on Saturday night. Kate, it's time for your best bet. So what have you come up with for Saturday night?
My butts best bets, my first 2 bets are in the mares and the fillies races out of the Jason Grimson stable. So the Stunning Nun starts in the Group 2 Pryde's Easifeed Forever Gold mares race, and as discussed, I think she'll be too strong for her competition here. In the Group 3 Changeover 3-year-old fillies classic, Chrissy Chic out of Gate 3 looks too classy for this field. And the final race on the evening sees First String come out of the 4 gate, but I think this pacer looks to go forward and possibly find the top. He's down in grade and looks well placed. So they're my 3 best bets for the night. Okay,
no surprises, Darren, that she's kicking up for the Sydney siders. We've got to work out what the go is there. She's not a proud Queenslander just yet. The dashboard now, what have you come up with as far as the dashboard is concerned, which appears each and every week on the RQ website?
Yes, sure it does. And I've got, following on with Kate there with First String, I thought that was the best bet of the night. We have to be patient. We were patient last week. It paid dividends. I think it can again this week. Ricky Thurlow trained pacer, his First String. Goes much better up near the speed, not suited last time out from the second line, so he can get up in the action early, and a big drop in grade for him, I thought. We've got the driver to follow this week is Brendan Barnes. Brendan has picked up a few key drives there, picking up a couple of those Jason Grimson trained runners. He gets the drive on Majestic Cruiser in the Queensland Cup. He gets the steer on Chrissy Chic, who we all think is already over the line. Of course, he partners with Gerardus Delight, a mare that gave him his first Group 1 back in winter in the Golden Girl, so he can certainly throw it out there. And another one he's got is Keyang Marvin. I'm keen on the chances of him. We get a bit of a ride up there, and away we go. I thought he was a good chance in the 2-year-old, so It's all there on the dashboard. Keep your eye out on the social pages.
Okay, so there's Darren's thoughts for Saturday night. My best bet, I was really keen last week on big wheels. He got beaten at the short quote. I've come up with another shorty, but this looks a put-in, take-out job. Chrissy Sheik up from Sydney. She just looks far too classy for the local lasses here, so I think she can score. Race 9, number 3, the best bet. And if you're playing the TAB Quaddie, and why not, this is the way I'm looking at it. First leg, numbers 1, 3 and 6. The second leg, 2, 3 and 6. Playing a little wider there in that trot, numbers 1, 3, 5, 6 and 8. And in that last leg, just going one out there with Mac Da Vinci. So that's $45 for 100% of the dividend. So you've got all of the tips, all of our thoughts for this huge night coming through on Saturday night. 10 races in total. Like I said, our first race starting just after 5 o'clock. There's going to be extended Sky Active coverage, so make sure you're tuned in on Saturday night. And remember, if you are having a bet this weekend, please do so responsibly. Bet with your head, not over it. Until next time, see you next time.